Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Lunchtime with Demons. I'm Abella Chris. I'm your host, and I'm here with Ryan Stone, as always. How are you, Ryan?
I'm doing good, Bella. How are you today?
How are you, Bella? I'm I'm good. I'm good. It's spring. Spring has sprung, and I don't know if you can hear that in my voice, but spring has sprung. And every flower and every plant is blooming, and it is incredible and beautiful, and everyone I know is sick. Um, and it's just but it's so beautiful. I can't help but just like relish in this incredible season. And perhaps it's because I'm devoted to Lucifer, but um I just find that the spring time is just so incredible. Like the cherry blossoms right now. I don't know if you've
Mm.
seen any. I don't know if they have a lot of them in Denver.
Nah, I think there might be some down near the Capitol, but beyond that, not much. But I do love a good cherry blossom.
They're incredible. And the dogwoods, like I've noticed a lot of the dogwood trees started blooming and all of the cherry blossom trees up here are blooming. And I'm like, oh, it's so perfect. It's so incredible. Um, and the maple, like there's these like Japanese maple trees in front of my house. And they're in front of my neighbor's house actually. And both of them have just, they're so like, oh, they're just like, they're on fire. They're so beautiful. I'm just like, I'm thrilled. And then the sky looks like it's from Legoland. Like it's so blue and the clouds are so white. I'm like, this looks like it's out of like Up, like a Pixar movie, you know?
Yeah, Pixar, yeah, totally.
Oh, and now the sun is shining. Like, come on, come on. It's glorious. It's worth all of this congestion and sickness. It's worth it all. Um, I'd like to give a shout out to my Patreon. I want to say thank you for joining me on last month's gathering for game night.
So
Uh,
much fun.
oh my gosh, it was so much fun. Like I have not laughed that hard in so long, and like we were all just cracking up. And I hope that you enjoyed yourself. This is the direction in which I'm moving when it comes to classes on the Patreon, is that the divine has been very, very clear with me about how they want to engage with their practitioners, which is less about like my classic lecture style of teaching, which, I think it does have a place. I'm not saying it doesn't. And more about integration teaching, like actually, giving us opportunity in a container that is safe and protected and around safe people that want to, uplift each other. And we can experience the divine through action. So in that case, it was playing games, and we played Cards Against Humanity, and we played that really silly, like gibberish game. And we were able to allow ourselves to open the channel to communicate with the divine that we work with and allow them into part of our life that is full of joy and laughter and silliness, and we get to see the sense of humor of the divine, which they have such a great, incredible sense of humor. Because how could you not, right?
Yeah.
uh you have to if you're going to work with humans. And so I'm really excited for the next event, which is on Sunday, May 3rd. And it's the same time. They're not always going to be on Sundays. I just think Sundays are a little easy for me right now. But what I'm going to do is alternate between Sundays and Saturdays, I think, and maybe Friday nights, keeping them on the weekends. And it's going to be this similar structure in that we're going to be integrating a lot of that channel, really opening up the channel um, between you and the divine that you work with, and allowing that channel to flow through you with a bit more ease. This one is called Channeling Chaos. And I have a little example on there where it says, explore what it's like to see inside the mind of the divine. And for the next 60 seconds, like for this one, so it'll be like 60 seconds, 80 seconds, 90 seconds, and I'll be timing it. And I'll give you like short burst scenarios. And then you're going to allow the divine that you work with to kind of channel through you and play with that short burst scenario. Um, and even if you don't feel like you're necessarily connected to that open channel, which I do think takes time and practice, it will give you an opportunity to almost like role play and embody the energy or the current in which the divine that you work with moves through you. And you can see how you respond. Maybe you respond differently. Maybe what you think you would have said normally, you don't end up saying, and you say something different that maybe you never would have said. And so I have like a little example here that says, "Your king Asmodeus reviewing someone's dating life, but as their disappointed uncle." So there'll be sort of sillier scenarios that are a little more lighthearted. So it takes the pressure off of you. And as a coach, and I've been coaching people with their clear abilities for so many years at this point, I really recognize that the weight and anxiety and that sort of fear, what it does is it kinks the channel. It makes it really difficult for you to connect with them because you're placing so much pressure on your shoulders. And so my goal over the next couple months as we do these little events with the Patreon is that excuse me, that we start to unkink those connections. And as much as I love kink, we're going to unkink some of those more, spiritual connections and open those up for you and allow them to flow through you with a little bit more joy and silliness, and bring some laughter, because laughter is very powerful. Joy is very powerful. We don't see it as a powerful magical tool in our practice and in our life, but I'm determined to change that, because I do think that it can do incredible things. And so yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys Sunday, May 3rd. It's at 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over Zoom. And you may have noticed that the structure for the Patreon has also changed. The tiers changed a little bit as well. And the focus now is really just on like integration with the divine, and having a place that we can meet monthly and chat about this and like work on some of these techniques, but also I'll be talking a little bit more about Lunchtime with Demons pretty soon, the book, and we'll be talking about Numos, the book, pretty soon. So there's a lot of things that are going to kind of pop up on the Patreon. So I just want to say I'm grateful for you and thank you for being a part of this. And that last event really proved to me that I was receiving the right message. And no matter how many fucking years you've been, excuse me, a medium, especially like, whether you're professional or not, you question yourself. There is, I mean, self-doubt sucks. And when I've been receiving these like really powerful channels about what they want to do and the direction they want to go, it was nerve-wracking. But then seeing the reaction from game night just blew my mind. And I was like, this is exactly what they want. And so yeah, today's episode, after I went through that entire Patreon thank you, which I don't care how long it took because thank you. Today's episode is on channeling, um, because our next event is coming up and I want to talk about channeling. So, yeah.
No, I think it's a great format. I agree with you too that I think bringing joy more into your practice and laughter, I think really helps kind of disarm these things that we put up that block us from the abilities that are readily at our disposal, but we build walls and things that make it difficult to communicate with them.
Yeah. Especially when we're constantly tearing ourselves down and we're just not seeing our worth and we're not seeing what we have to offer. And it's so much more. It's so much more than you recognize. Um, and yeah. So channeling for me, it was actually one of the hardest things for me to figure out how to teach because I didn't know how I was doing it. I didn't know. I didn't understand. I was like, what do you mean you're not doing it? What do you mean? And I was like, this is channeling, right? Like, this is channeling. And it dawned on me that, like, even in my own practice, what I thought was channeling, I had really put in a box of what channeling should look like. And that's because of mentors that I'd had before me that were not really versed in mediumship, but versed in other areas. Like I worked with a Taoist mentor for a while, and then a friend of mine who was a Solomonic practitioner mentored me for a little while, early on in my practice. And I learned very quickly that that was not for me. But it, helped me a lot when it came to just understanding my the trajectory I did want to take in the occult. And that, traditionally observing the Goetia was not for me. And that took a long time, guys, a long time to get to. And as I was figuring myself out, which I still am and always will be, I'm never going to be perfect. I'm never going to fucking stand here before you and be like, this is Bella. This is the final form, because it doesn't exist. There is no final form. My final form is a corpse. And I'm excited to meet her someday. Um, but I do think that as I've evolved and I've been evolving my abilities, one of the biggest things that I wish I could say this to everyone, I wish I could shout it from the rooftops, and I will because it's in my book, is the truth about growing your abilities is well, the key, not the truth, the key about grow, oh my gosh, words. The key to growing your abilities, I'm going to hand it to you on a silver fucking platter, is self-acceptance. That's it. And so when you join mentorship with me, yes, I can be a pain in the ass. Yes, I have a lot of homework. Yes, I have a lot of things that I ask of you. Okay, fine. I know what kind of coach I am. But in truth, at the end of our time together, what you'll have realized is that you and I created a space that you gave yourself permission to accept where you are, and that you had someone to bounce things off of, and you had a safety net to fall onto in order to practice things. Because that's in truth what Hey Coach really is. Um, because when you accept where you are, who you are, with what you have, you work with it instead of looking ahead towards what it's going to become. You accept what it is, where it is. And I think that's what I've always done because I didn't know there was more. You guys have to understand. You have this thing called access, like to the internet. I'm old, and you have this thing called access to the internet where you're on TikTok. I didn't have TikTok. You have these creators that are like, do this, do this, do this, and you'll have the best spiritual abilities ever. As if it's like, I don't know, as if it's like buying a car. Like, I didn't have any, I didn't know that they could grow. I didn't know that they weren't gifts. I didn't know that everybody had them. I didn't know that I wasn't a freak of fucking nature. I didn't know that they weren't going to literally ruin my life. I thought they were. I thought they would. I thought I would never be able to have a normal relationship, a normal friendship. I thought that I would have to, I thought I would be hung or like fucking killed on a stake if people found out this shit. I did not know. I make it sound like I grew up in the 1600s, but truly, I didn't know. So there was no part of me going, I need a mentor that's going to make my abilities better. Right. So I had to accept what I had because I was like, this is it. This is all it does. This is all it does. And I don't understand it and I don't know how it works, but it just happens. And I had a very, very like narrow myopic perspective of what clairs were. And then it wasn't until I joined TikTok many years later and somebody asked me, well, how do you work on it? How do you work on meditation? How do you work on growing your clair abilities? And I was like, huh. And then Lucifer would tell me things. And then I would be in the middle of talking on a live, and suddenly I would be like, am I talking? Who's talking? I don't know who just talked for the last 10 minutes because that wasn't me. So a lot of the things that have happened in my life kind of happened at me. And then I dissected it and spent a lot of time ripping it apart to be able to teach it. to be able to coach it, help other people. And I've learned that you can, that it is something that progresses. It is something that can become a practice. It is something that can be taught. It is something that can be nurtured into something more. But the thing is, I still don't do that. But I do seek permission in my own expansion, but I do seek permission through the gods because I'm lucky enough that my clairs are at a place where I can hear them, make that exchange. So I recognize that when you can't, it is really nice to have a mentor like myself. Or Ryan, I know you're going to start teaching, right, in Denver. Yeah,
Yeah, at some point.
it's nice to have people. And so I get it. I do. So in speaking about channeling, I wanted to share that my history with it because I want to be very clear that part of what makes channeling so hard is that you have to surrender to it. And you are not used to or accustomed to surrendering to anything in your life. And I say you as in the universal you. I'm pretty sure everybody here struggles with that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, as much as I love this work, that was probably one of the most difficult things to do. And even still, there's always some like level of resistance when it's really called upon to surrender into things just because just naturally not taught that that's how you do things or learn things or grow in things by just surrendering to it. It just doesn't equate
I
to
know.
the human condition, I
It
think, very
doesn't.
well.
It doesn't. I really love Pocahontas as my you guys know I teach in Disney parables and I recognize, you know, free Palestine. Okay, fuck Disney right now, but I still love the stories. And I still love Disney. Even I love what Disney did for me and does for me when I watch the movies. Um and so I will speak and teach through them because I've also played a few Disney princesses in my life. And my one of my thousand lives that I've lived as a human in this particular life when I was doing theater professionally. So I what I love about Pocahontas is when she kind of takes off at the beginning of the movie and she's singing just around the river bend and she like jumps off the cliff and she's like in the water and she says what I love most about rivers is you can't step in the same river twice. Yeah, the water is always changing, always flowing, but people I guess can't live like that. They all must pay a price. And I won't keep quoting it, but I always think about that when I think about surrender because she has so much fucking wisdom and joy in her in her fucking pinky finger and you can feel it at the beginning of that movie. You can feel it when she starts singing that song because like her father wants her to marry Cocoam, but she's just like, I can't. How can I do anything like that when I have this? But the thing that you have to recognize about where that energy is coming from with her when she starts that and everything was responding to her, like the fucking the trees and the river and the otters and the everything is responding to her. And it's because she's surrendered to the current of the land. She's surrendered to the current of her life and the river itself. That's why she loves the river. You know, she's like, should I choose? Sorry, there's a point where she's there and there's these two, the river splits. And she's like, should I choose the smoothest course, steady as a beating drum? Should I marry Cocoam? Are all my dreams like at an end, basically? And I remember when I was like older and I was I was watching that movie again because I watch Disney movies all the time. As a full grown adult, if I'm home alone and it's my day off, I can guarantee you a Disney movie is involved. I literally just watched Tangled this week. Um, so I remember watching it and she's looking in the water in this reflection of Coco, and she's kind of like seeing her life. And she chooses, and she says, or do I still wait for you, dream giver? And she like chooses the harder path. She turns and moves down this like waving path that has like a faster current, and she's on the boat. And I thought, this is so like, it clicked for me, and I felt Lucifer in my head where he was like, yes, you get it, you get it. She is so used to surrendering to the current of spirit. How could she choose the smoothest course? She can't, because when you surrender, spirit moves fast. The channel comes in easy. You move down fast. But if you take that smooth river, you don't go fast. You have to paddle. You have to paddle because you don't have a current. So part of channeling is about not just surrender, but relinquishing control to all of the things, because you can't control the river itself. You have to just find joy in the movement and the pace of the natural current of spirit. And then that takes her to the mother willow, like the willow tree, where she's fucking like talking to a fucking tree. I want to talk to a tree. I don't want to be with Coco on this like boring ass river. I want to talk to a tree, you know? So it I don't know. I hope that's helpful. I hope that's a helpful like metaphor for my listeners here, our listeners here, on what it actually takes to step into a channel. It is not just saying, I'm going to channel, here I am, I'm now embodying the channel. Especially if you are someone that every single day of your life, you choose the steady beating drum, and then suddenly you're going to step into the channel. It ain't going to work, babe. It ain't going to work. You're going to drown. You're going to get your boat's going to get knocked the fuck over, and you're going to end up in the rapids, and you're not going to know what to do with it. I am sheer chaos in my life. I live my day to day like a fucking menace to society. So, like, I live in this current, always have, always will. You need to find ways to introduce this type of current to your life. And it can be small ways. I mean, truly, you want to know the smallest way I tell people how to do it? Change your silverware drawer. Just randomly. Just come home and move it from one drawer to another drawer. Move your cups. Throw them out for no reason. Just say, I don't want them anymore. We don't need cups. And see what happens if you don't have a cup. Drink out of a bowl. I don't know. I am not kidding when I say I am a menace to my life. And I do crazy things all the time. But that's because I'm so used to living in the rapids mentally. And so those channels flow through me so fast, so easy. I don't even recognize them sometimes. But I see people with the ability to channel all the time, and they want to, but they are so used to rowing in that still water that when I'm pointing to the rapids saying, are you going to go? They're like, yeah, for the channel. And that's it. Or for this one other thing. But then I'm going to come right back to the steady water. I'm like, those two things don't live hand in hand if you want a regular channel, you know? So I don't know. What do you think? Tell me your thoughts, Ryan.
So I'll give my own fun parable to start off with. So I learned to swim when I was probably about 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
I was great at it, loved the water. I, however, could not float until I was about 11 or 12 because I just couldn't let go of the ability to float, to control it. I had to be in control, like surrendering to the water to care for me and let me float just was not in the cards for me until finally at some point, I don't even remember when it actually occurred, but I think it was some kind of night swim where I finally just gave in and did. And yeah, it's much like that, I think, a lot of times.
Mm,
You can learn to swim and you can struggle all day long, but at some point, if you can't float, you can't be in the current or you're
yeah.
fighting the current.
Mm-hmm. Ugh. Yeah. It's so true. Mm, every year I like try to teach my daughter how to swim better. She can't float either. She locks up every time. She clenches all of her muscles and then just sinks to the bottom.
Yeah, I was like that. Like I said, I was a great swimmer. Yeah, it took forever for me to get to a point where I trusted the water enough that it would hold me up. So
Yeah.
I definitely always think about that for me when I think about what it's like to be in flow and with working with a channel like that, of that you start to see that calmer water, the most traveled path as the resistance, because it requires so much more effort. It's deceiving in the fact that it seems like it doesn't, but it does require so much more effort on your part to travel that road, because you're stifling and shutting things out as opposed to opening up and letting things kind of flow in for you.
Yeah, exactly. It is deceiving. So you're like, I just want peace. For so many years of my life, that was what I would ask the gods for. Just peace, please. I just want peace. And I thought that peace was choosing that life because I've really only ever known chaos. And I've learned that peace is internal. It's an internal experience amongst the chaos. And now I have a lot of peace. And now if you risk my peace while I'm on my chaos trail, I'm like, you will get thrown off. I will throw you off of this trail aggressively. And it's everything is one thing I have learned about everything. Fuck, witchcraft, fucking working deity work, spiritualism, manifestation is that it is an internal, individual experience. You were born into this world as one, you will die as one. And no matter what happens, no matter who, what, where, or whatever happens, there's still going to be a tomorrow. There could be a fucking apocalypse, and literally the ocean's still going to crash onto the shore. The trees are still going to blow in the wind. There's still going to be seasons. This earth does not give a fuck if we live or die. And sometimes we place things in our life to make ourselves feel like we're not alone. We have this, we have that, we have community, we have all these things. And yet we're still alone and we don't like it. What's cool about that, though, when you do get to a place where you learn to like it, which is very hard, where you're like, actually, I'd rather not have the noise of everyone else's bullshit. I'd rather just be with my own shit and deal with my own shit, not worry about other fucking people and what they're doing and what they're thinking and what they're saying and what they're up to. And you really, really shift your focus onto yourself and what you're trying to do. Suddenly, one, you have more capacity for other people. It's hard to hate someone when you understand and love yourself and all your imperfections. It's hard to feel alone when you see yourself in everything. And channeling the divine, which means trusting the divine to use your body and your voice and all that to speak through you, requires a level of personal peace, solace within the self to be able to surrender that. Even if it's just a gentle understanding that where you are is enough, who you are is enough, what you have to offer, where it's at is enough. You're allowed to want more for yourself. But when you fucking like flood your life with distraction because you're so scared of the silence, you'll learn how loud silence can be. And it's loud. And when it is that loud, it's very hard to hear a channel. Yeah. Have you ever seen, you have, you were with me when Lucifer will channel through people that don't even know he's channeling through, and he's not even using the person, he's using the current of energy between you and that person.
Yeah, the waitress when we were at
Cracker Barrel.
yeah, Cracker Barrel. It's like I don't know why the restaurant escapes me, but yeah, that was such a morning. And then we had moved and the air was out and everybody was just like beat to hell. And yeah, it was quite the moment.
Yeah. There's definitely been like a lot of those moments for me recently. Um, yeah. And it's incredible because then you get to see the gods in everything. You get to see them in people, in what they're saying and what they're doing and how they're interacting with you. It's like their influence. It's like a layer. And it's not even because they're using that person, they're using you. You become a walking channel.
I love the opportunities Satan has afforded me this year to just randomly interact with people that were in places where just needed some like simple guidance or, help with the divine that they worked with because they couldn't necessarily reach out and, being somebody that can help with that sort of thing, unbeknownst to them, but it was presented. I do what I do, and there you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Um, exactly. It's yeah. I mean, there is so many incredible opportunities that will open up to you when you choose to allow that energy to flow through you. And one of the other big things that happens with channeling that I think people really need to recognize is like you are not you're not really a part of the equation. Like so many people are worried like what if I get it wrong, what if I say the wrong thing, what if it's not right, blah blah blah. Okay, great, those are really good things to be concerned about because you do want to be concerned about your filters and you want to be concerned about your biases and you want to work through those things so that way you have a clear channel. But also it's the responsibility of the divine. If the divine is choosing you to channel, they know your limitations, they know what you're gonna fuck up on, they know how to fix it. You got to trust them too to be the divine and to be intelligent enough to know what to say and who to say it through and not take the responsibility on yourself of what the divine chooses to do. It's not your job to manage them. You're not going to do better than them. You're a human, you know. Um anyways, that's my final thought on channeling. I think it's beautiful. I think that there's a lot to it. I could go into techniques, but that wasn't what this episode was for. It was more just to help you understand how to, like an introduction to it, how to even look in that direction. And I just want you to really visualize being Pocahontas on that canoe or and just sitting there at the crossroads of the still water and the choppy waters. And look at your life and look at how many times you choose which path. And when you think about channeling, you think about being that open current for the divine, lean into the chaos a little bit and not with a heavy paddle, but put the paddle down and just go down the river and have a little fun. And we'll do that on the 3rd, May 3rd, Sunday, May 3rd, hopefully on Patreon. And I have a deal going on right now for my hour sessions. If you want to do an hour session for spring, for next month, you can use the code KINK, KINK, all caps, and it will give you a pretty gnarly discount. And I do this like twice a year. I think I do this discount. So take advantage of it while it's still active. Anyways,
Love it.
thanks, Ryan. It was nice seeing you as always.
I always love talking to you.
And we'll see you all next week.
See you next week.